Good morning, everyone. We're seeing everything at a little different angle today because I want to show you something on the computer screen. So I had to bring my laptop over here so you can see out our windows. I know you're probably just seeing a big glare. For those of you that haven't been in or haven't been able to see, this is our view. And there's water back there. It's a really nice view. And you get to see a little bit more of the classroom. There's the other side. I can't go all the way around because I have a student in here. But it'll let you see a little bit, those that haven't been able to come in. So, yesterday was Thursday. Today is Friday. But remember, it's the blend. Fr. But we'll just do the F. Every letter makes a sound. The F says F. Yeah. Oh, Miss Cindy just came in to get our student to go to speech. How nice is that? Oh, did you hear her?
Can I go see you?
Hi, Miss Cindy.
Oh, where am I? Hello.
She's crazy, I know. That's why everybody loves her.
Hello, young man. I want to steal you.
Not for much longer, but it is the month of September still. But today is the 25th, so we only have 6 more days of it. Oh, is it 31? I never remember that rhyme about 30 days has, that kind of stuff. No, it's only 30, so we only have 5 more days left of September. Oh my goodness. I was thinking about October, there's 31, because that's Halloween. September will be gone soon. Boy, did that fly. So we know it's September the 25th, and that it is, whoops, Friday. I was throwing Thursday across the room. We are still working on the number 1. In our square, we have 1 pumpkin, 1. Before we were working on 0, which we had nothing, no. But now we have 1, so we would have, put an apple there, 1 thing in our hand, 1. Our letter is still, I like this letter, B, because I like this. B. I like that. And what else starts with a B? Like most of you are. Boy. B. Boy. The B says B. Baby. Now, if you do have young ones, you might not be thrilled sometimes because they might cry a lot. But that's what babies do. Sometimes more than others. Some babies more than others. Bird. Cardinal. So it's a bird, but the actual name of the kind of bird it is cardinal. And Miss Joanne loves the red. I have a red shirt on today, just like him. Doesn't quite go with my pink sweatshirt, but it is what it is. That's what I have, and it's kind of cool in here today because we open the windows and put fans on to circulate the air more to keep everybody safe. Book. Book. See, maybe that's why I like B so much, because I love to read. So one of my favorite things in life starts with B, book. I do read some online, but I still every once in a while like to have the real book in front of me to read. Just something about holding it and reading it on paper that I like. I guess I'm old-fashioned in a way. So that's today. We have a busy day, and I have you over here because of that. Today is, I guess from what I was looking at, it's different states have it on different days. But in Rhode Island, we celebrate National Native American Day. That's today in Rhode Island. Some other states celebrate it the day after Thanksgiving. But Rhode Island and a few other states celebrate it on the last Friday of September. So it's not that it's the 25th, it's the last Friday of September. But that's what today is, a Native American. They used to call them Indians, but that wasn't very polite. So now they're called Native Americans, which is what they are. And this book right now is a Native American good morning message. I thought we'd start off that. Today's lesson might be long because I have so much stuff I want to show you. But this is a morning message. So there's some Native Americans. They're out in the morning. They live in the woods, or depending on what part of the country they're from, but there'll be deer and trees. Let's see what they have to say. Oh. It's by Chief Jake Swamp, and he's called Chief because that's the person who kind of governs the rest of the tribe, like the governor or the mayor or something like that. That's his position. And the illustrator is Irwin Printup Jr. Guess he had a father that was the same name. It's kind of a big page, so I'll kind of move it up and down for you, but I got to read it first. To be a human being is an honor, and we offer thanksgiving for all the gifts of life. They used to carry, some of them used to carry their babies on their back like that so they could still have their arms free to do work. And we've kind of gotten back to that. We kind of, a lot of times, well, they'll be on the back in a back seat for a baby, or a lot of them are swaddled in the front nowadays. Mother Earth, that's what they call the earth. We thank you for giving us everything we need. They believe that everything came from Mother Earth. Thank you, deep blue waters around Mother Earth, for you are the force that takes thirst away from all living things. Isn't that pretty? They're thanking the water for having something to drink. We give thanks to green grasses that feel so good against our bare feet for the cool beauty you bring to Mother Earth's floor. So all the different greens. I should say this every morning. I like this. Thank you, good foods from Mother Earth, our life sustainers, for making us happy when we are hungry. So they're thanking the earth for growing all this. Well, some help sometimes, but growing this so we have some food to eat. Just trying to make sure there's not too much of a glare on it from the window behind me. Fruits and berries, we thank you for your color and sweetness. We are all thankful to good medicine, herbs, for healing us when we are sick. So they didn't have, if they wanted to paint something, they just couldn't pull out a strip of paints. They had to use different berries and things like that to dye their clothing and whatever else they wanted to have color on. And they used those colors. Very natural. Some women, well, I shouldn't be sexist, some men too. Now the thing is they do natural dyes for their hair instead of using the chemicals. I knew a teacher that would grow things and then she would use them to make her hair red so she wasn't putting all the bad stuff on her head to make it change the color. She always wanted me to come over and do it, but I was afraid. Thank you, all the animals in the world, for keeping our precious forests clean. All the trees in the world, we are thankful for the shade and warmth you give us. Thank you, all the birds in the world, for singing your beautiful songs for all to enjoy. Isn't that beautiful? They're thanking the animals, the birds, and the animals for keeping the food, the forest clean. We give thanks to you, gentle four winds, for bringing clean air for us to breathe from four directions. Because sometimes the wind comes from the north, sometimes the south, the east, or the west. Those are the four directions of the earth. Oh, you can see that the wind's blowing there because their hair is being blown around. Thank you, Grandfather Thunder beings, for bringing rains to help all living things grow. They didn't have all the science and stuff that was developed over the years. So they believed that they made up what thunder and lightning were. That, it was coming from their gods. There's a pretty hummingbird. I like those too. They're just so little and they fly so fast. It's hard to see them. Elder Brother Sun, we send thanks for shining your light and warming Mother Earth. Thank you, Grandmother Moon, for growing full every month to light the darkness for children in sparkling waters. We thank everybody. We give you thanks, twinkling stars, for making the night sky so beautiful and for sprinkling morning dew drops on the planets. See all the little, all the stars. I'm just trying to watch the glare.
Wow, that's a pretty illustration.
Sorry, I wasn't showing it to Miss Hallie. That wasn't very nice of me. Spirit protectors of our past and present, we thank you for showing us ways to live in peace and harmony with one another. Most of all, thank God, Great Spirit. Thank you, Great Spirit, for giving us all these wonderful gifts, so we will be happy and healthy every day and every night. I'm having a hard time reading today. Another pretty picture. Want to see this one?
Oh, nice.
So they even say thank you to the spirit protectors. That's what they believe in. The end. That was beautiful. I liked that a lot. And I think the person who wrote this is the founder of the Tree of Peace Society, an international organization promoting peace and conservation. And he was a member of the Mohawk tribe up in upstate New York, so not too far from us. And that's the author right there. And that is the illustrator, the person who did the pictures. He did a great job. The pictures are beautiful. Now, I still want to show you something else. It's going to take me a minute because I have to turn the camera around and get it set up. It's just kind of a slideshow about Indians. Just see, here I am going back to old habits. Native Americans. So we can learn just a little bit more. And I couldn't print because for some reason my computer isn't printing. Can you see that? Okay, oh, it is big. I did practice this, so it did work. Let's see if I get you closer. Oh, nope, this way. There, I hope everyone can see. So the first Americans, these first Americans descended or came from cavemen of Asia. So they came from, I gotta get my mouse working. They came from way over here, and then they walked across frozen land and stuff and came down into the United States or North America, because it's not just us, it's Canada too. So that's why we call them Native Americans, because they were the first ones. And this is where the kind of how the map was drawn up. Like this was the eastern woodlands. That's where we live. We live kind of around here. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Kind of around here. And then you had the Plains Indians or Native Americans. Southwest, those that lived in the California area, and then your northwest. So around here that we had Pequot, Iroquois, Mohican. Around here they would have Apache, Comanche, Sioux, and up here it says Inuit. Those are like the American Eskimos. They live way up there. Northwest coast, environment, food, and shelter. The Indians of the Northwest, they lived between the ocean and the mountains. And today that's California, Washington, and Oregon. Their growing season was short, and they couldn't grow a lot. So they ate a lot of fish and deer and bears. There was a lot of wood to build houses and to make tools. They traveled by water a lot, and this is their boat. It's called a dugout because they would get a big tree and they would burn it and chop out all the inside, so they hollowed out the log, so now they had a boat. The Chinooks, best known as traders. Here's a picture of them. That's kind of cool. I don't know if you can tell how well you can see it. Sorry, because it's an old picture. They lived near the coast. They held celebrations to show off their wealth, and they would give gifts to people to show that. I haven't heard this one. I think it's the Macaws. I may not be saying right. I apologize if I'm not. So they did a lot of whaling. They would they'd get in canoes to hunt the whales because they made harpoons, which is long spears, is the way that they got the whales. But they didn't just kill the whales just to kill them. They used the meat to eat. They used the blubber or fat. They used that for oil to burn to make light. And the tendons, which is kind of what goes between your bones and your body, helping you move them, were used to make rope. So they used every part of the whale. In the Southwest, which is down here. Remember, we're over here in the Northeast. We were just looking around here. We are down here now. The climate is very dry or arid. That's another name for it. And much of the land is desert. and they have fierce heat during the day and sharp cold at night. Very few animals live there because of the desert. One nation was the Hopi Nation. It means peaceful one. They lived in pueblos, which were adobe, like a clay kind of house that they made many rooms out of, next to or on top of one another. They live in what's presently called Arizona, and their villages were built on top of mesas, which are the top of, like flat top of some shorter mountains. Navajos, they settled in the Southwest known as the Four Corners. That's where Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado meet. The first early Navajos were nomads. They often attacked the Hopis and stole their supplies. Well, that wasn't nice, but that's the way it was back then. And they lived in houses called hogans, and it's a cone-shaped frame covered with mud or grass. And they built them in small family-sized groups miles apart from one another. Oh, I didn't see. I learned something else new. The Kachinas, again I apologize if it's not right, were Hopi spirits or gods which lived in the mountains. And they were called on to bring rain, help make the crops grow, heal the sick, or to find animals to hunt. They talked to the gods by singing and dancing, like rain. We used to call it the rain dance. I don't, what it is in the Native American language. So they made these Kachina figures representing the spirits, and they used to teach their children about tribal religious beliefs. They used these. Not pretty much like us. Great Plains, and this is what the Great Plains look like. It's like big open area. Buffalo were the most important natural resource of the plains. Now, just like the whales of the other ones, they would hunt them, but they would use everything. They didn't just hunt them for sport like the white settlers did. They used the skin for clothing and, to keep warm in the cold days. Obviously they ate them for food. They lived in teepees, and that's the teepee. I don't know if I can move this up now.
That's where I live. Bye.
Really?
In Kansas, yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's great. In Texas.
There's the teepees. That's the kind of house a lot of times you see in movies about, the white settler cowboys and the Indians. I don't know if you heard Miss Hallie, but she used to live in the area like this. Not in a teepee, though. That would have been cool. The Cheyenne, they were another big tribe. Thank you. They settled in villages of earthen lodges and birch bark wigwams. That's what they called their homes. They became nomadic to follow the buffalo. There's a nice picture of a buffalo. And they built temporary teepees that could move easily. The Cheyennes were originally farming people, and with the women harvesting corn, squash, and beans while the men hunted. The Kiowas, it's not Kiowa, it's Kiowa, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong again. They were nomads. They were one of the poorest of the native peoples and used sign language. That's cool. They use sign language much like us now. They could not farm because the roots of the grass made it too difficult to break the ground with a digging stick. They built a cone-shaped tent. They used wooden poles that were fastened in a circle and covered with buffalo skin. That's what the teepee is. Eastern woodlands.
Justin, speech.
The Eastern Woodlands region covered the east coast of what is the United States now down near the Mississippi River and up here. Because these Indians lived in the forests, they were called the Eastern Woodland Indians. There were the Iroquois and the Cherokee. The Iroquois weren't just one tribe, but a group of 5 tribes that lived near each other and spoke similar languages. I'm not going to butcher all their names, but one of them that we may know is the Seneca, the Oneida, or the Mohawk. Those are more familiar. Well, at least for me they are.
Yeah, the author of our book was Mohawk.
Oh, cool. In 1750, 500 years ago, in 1570, I said it backwards, they formed the Iroquois League. They were tired of fighting one another and they wanted to work together. Then there was Cherokee, and they lived in the southern Appalachian Mountains. They were farmers and hunters, and several families of the same clan shared the same house. Oh, here's some of their clothing, the different kinds of clothing. Leggings, beaded. That's a beaded armor. Moccasins, that's what they wore on their feet. A dress for a woman. A war shirt with kind of has long sleeves. And then, I guess, other war shirts. That's what it says. Cool. They had to make that all by hand, and this is showing just the type of moccasins. I'm not going to go through them all, but, here they had a little bit more of a boot, but just all different kinds of moccasins, which you can still find the same things at stores now, made the same way. And then they had crazy hairstyles, just like us. Some of them had long flowing hair. Look at this one. With big whirls. This one looks like a big plate on her head. It's boarded. Seminole lady with board hair. So they did all kinds of funny things with us too. Here's a man with just some long hair. He had a little bit of a cut. Okay, he had it. These were the Mohawks, and that's what the Mohawk is. They had their regular dark hair, and then they made shorter hair, and they would dye it like red. And there's some other male American Indians and how they looked. Whoops. Not too good with this mouse here. They all wore different headdresses. They were war bonnets that were important ceremonial for their ceremonies. They were worn by chiefs and warriors. Also, only men wore war bonnets because they were the ones that went to war. The hair dresses were more ceremonial. War bonnets were also for declaring war. Roaches were more often worn in battle. Not sure what a roach is, but here's a Sioux buffalo headdress. So that's another way they would use the buffalo. They would use the horns. They would have them attached to the fur, and then they would wear it as a headdress. And there's a buffalo war bonnet. And then some just had all feathers put together, some very long and some shorter. Very pretty. A lot of work must have went into those. And here's all the homes we were just talking about. Here's the Pueblo Hopi, Southwest Longhouse, Chinook Northwest Teepee, Kiowa's Plain Longhouse, Iroquois Eastern Woodland, Cherokee Village. There's their Cherokee Village, I guess. Or no, I know they don't name them where, but there's your teepee. They stretched the material around. And then they had a hole up here so they could still have a fire in there so they could cook and stay warm in the winter. Oh, here's some drawings of them. Oh, Mel, I can tell you better. Plains buffalo hide teepee, the Navajo sod or adobe hogan. Oh, here's the Algonquin mat or bark wigwam. That would be seen more around here. And there's the longhouse. That was more by the Indians of the Northeast. And also, that was Northwest. But here's some of the pueblos of the adobe ones. Cool. I guess it all depended on where you lived and what you needed it to look like. They were really into totem poles. That's what these are called. And they were outside the houses of Northwestern Indians. The totem pole was beautifully carved with shapes of people and animals. The carving showed each family's history and importance. I guess these guys are really important. Look how tall that is. So they're telling their history right outside their house. Food. They would either hunt and fish, they would gather, they would do farming, and they would raise domestic animals. It all depends on, I guess, which tribe you were from. Then they hunted the buffalo. We've talked about that a lot. Deer or elk or moose. They did a lot with fish. Little bunny rabbits and ducks. Beaver. Deer. Some more ducks or geese. And turkeys. Gobble gobble. In agriculture, they would grow corn, beans that year, and different kinds of squash. But they also have eggs and honey and maple syrup and berries and nuts. Whatever they could find. How we have some weapons. This is how a lot of us think because of old movies. Bow and arrow. Spear. That's a Plains Indian War Club. I guess they bonk you on the head. An axe. a tomahawk. I don't know what it has there. And there's a knife. I can't see. It says coop sticks, but I don't know exactly what I don't see the whole picture, I guess. Oh, unfortunately what happened is misinformation about their ways. The white people that came over from England and stuff thought the Indians were savage and should be Americanized. That means they should take on our ways. So they went for many, many, many years. They tried to convert them into Christianity and turning them into farmers. They had to leave their homes, their traditional lands, and they were forced to give up their culture. Removal American Indians. Trail of Tears, this was for the Cherokee. They had to walk from here over to here. This was their traditional land, but they made them resettle over here, and a lot of people died on that walk.
All right, Justin, you're all finished.
That's what it looked like.
I will see you later.
A lot of people had to walk. Native Americans today have special status. You have to have a certain percentage of Indian blood in you to be named part of a tribe. If you can prove that you're Native American descent, you can qualify for benefits. There are reservations, which is land especially for the Native American tribes. On these reservations, the tribal council is the law. Now, a lot of them have casinos, which attract tourists to give them more money. This is not very good, but it shows the different reservations. You can't really see up here in New England where we live. The origins of Thanksgiving. Well, that's kind of important because that's coming up. We'll learn more about Thanksgiving when it's time, but basically the English came over in the Mayflower. After 66 days, they hit the Cape Cod area of Massachusetts. Only half the Pilgrims lived after the first winter because of cold and disease. In March, they were visited by a tribe who spoke English, and he brought with him a former captured slave, Squanto. Squanto taught the Pilgrims, weakened by malnutrition and illness, how to cultivate corn, get sap from the maple trees for maple syrup, catch fish. And then in November, they had their first corn harvest, and it was so successful, the governor invited a group of Native Americans to celebrate feast, now remembered as America's first Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving today, we all have, well, it depends on what religion or what nationality you are, but a lot of people have Thanksgiving with a turkey, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, vegetables, gravy, pumpkin pie. It's the weekend of the busiest times of the year for traveling. That's when a lot of people are trying to go home to visit their families. Well, this is what traditionally it looks like. It's very different depending on your culture. But there's your turkey and some sweet potato, some biscuits, some squash, and cranberry sauce. Other things too, but that's all I'm going to name. The end. We're not going to go into the cultural regions and things like that because this has been long enough. I hope you learned something. I know I did. I didn't know it all. So it's Friday, so we won't see you again until Monday. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Let's see if I can get this over to Miss Hallie without showing a student.
Hi, guys. See you soon.
Oops, sorry, I was moving it.
You're good.
And I want to say the same thing. Bye. See you later.